Alright, in this lesson we're going to talk about decimals and fractions and how they're related. So, our learning target is I can visually show, so remember visually means I can see it, right? So I can visually show how, show the relationship between a decimal and a fraction. So we're talking about decimals and fractions today. Here's the important thing to take away. Decimals and fractions are related to each other. So we've been talking a lot about fractions. So decimals are related to fractions. So these are going to be very similar. So here I've got 100 squares here. So let's think of this as a fraction. So I know the total I have here is 100. So the total is always my denominator. Now I'm going to shade in 46. So if I shade in 46, each column is 10. I'm just going to quickly shade. This would be 10. This would be 20. This would be 30. This would be 40. And then 46. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So shading in 46. Okay, so total, I have 46 hundredths. Now, if you remember from the last video, when we're talking about place value, it goes the ones place, decimal point, the tenths place, and then the hundredths place. So here we're talking about hundredths because we've got 100 boxes here. So 46 hundredths. I have 0 ones. I have nothing in my ones place. So don't forget that decimal point. And then 46 hundredths. 46 hundredths. So 0.46. So these two are exactly equal. And this grid means 46 hundredths as a fraction. And it means 46 hundredths as a decimal. So in words, I would say 46 hundredths. 46 hundredths. Okay? Now let's look at another one. This grid here has 10 total spaces here. So I know my fraction is going to be out of 10. It's going to be out of 10. So go ahead and shade in 6 of these. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so shading in 6 of those, so that would be 6 tenths. That's what we just colored, 6 tenths. Now let's remember our place value, the ones place, the tenths place, and the hundredths place. Okay, we don't have any hundredths here because we only go up to 10. So we're only talking the tenths place. So I have 0 in my ones place, and then 6 in my tenths place, so 0.6. So in words, it would just be 6 tenths. 6 tenths. Now, at this point on the video, I want you to pause it, and what I want you to do is I want you to try to convert the following decimals into fractions and the following fractions into decimals. After you do this, finish watching the video and see if you were correct or not. Okay, so at this point, you should have already tried these on your own to see what you understand so far. So first, I have 0.03. So let's remember, ones place, decimal point, tenths place, hundredths place. So I know that the 3 is in the hundredths place. So I know it's going to be out of 100. And 3 is the only number we have here, so it would be 3 hundredths. Okay, number 2, I've got ones place, tenths place, hundredths place. out of 100, so it would be 34 hundredths. Number 3, I've got 1 as my whole number here. 1 is in the 1 spot, so 1 is my whole number. I've got tenths, hundredths, so I've got another hundredth here, and I've got 22. So 1 and 22 hundredths. Number 4, I've got 3 is my whole number. 2 is in the tenths place, so 3 and 2 tenths. 3 and 2 tenths. Okay? Now let's look here. We're going to take this fraction and we're going to turn it into a decimal. So remember, it's the ones place, the tenths place, and the hundredths place. Okay? So 36 hundredths, which means we're talking all the way over here. So 0 in my 1 spot, 36 hundredths. Number 2, I have 4 tenths. So I look at my tenths place, 0.4. And lastly, 25 hundredths. So I'm talking about my hundredths place here. Nothing in my 1 spot, 25 here. I hope you did well after you did these by yourself and then checked them with me. Continue learning.